Greetings out there in YouTube land. This is Morris Man, and as always, I thank you guys for coming to my channel. I guess first of all, I want to, and that's the title of the video. Thank you all. I want to thank you all for your onpouring of condolences and well wishes. You know, one of my brothers passed away Sunday, and I talked in that video how nobody bothered to call me. You know, and there were some things when I watched that video that I didn't clarify. So I need to clarify this because you need to understand the story behind the story, if that makes sense. Because I mentioned about I don't have a problem or beef with none of my brothers and sisters. You know, I don't personally. I'm like, I don't have a beef with you, and most don't have a beef with me. Or if you do, tell me. I mean, what am I not doing? You know, as opposed to, you know, getting treated like I don't exist and I'm not kept in the loop. Because I appreciate you guys, because people threw out theories and said, well, maybe they jealous of you or stuff. And that's not the case, but that is a good assumption, because when people are jealous of you or other people, they clown. But here is my theory. I'm the youngest boy, and I'm still being treated as the youngest boy. I'm then at 60 now. I'm no longer a boy, you know. So I'm like, I should be treated equally like you, because one of my brothers, I would say, I felt like I was being treated equal when I got a certain age, instead of you the little squirt, you know. So I think that's part of it. And there's just other issues that needs to be resolved that never get touched on, you know. And we should be able to touch on these things without getting angry or having any animosity. It's like, just, you know, put it politely. You know, I'm like, if it has to be said, say it, but put it politely. And what I didn't clarify in that video, as far as this is how it went. Like I told you, I got a brother live 15 minutes away from me. Haven't seen him in 20 years. I don't understand why, you know. So my other brother next to me decided he was going to try to fix this, you know, and his intentions were good, but the timing was not right as far as how to address this. Because I told you, I talking to him, because he was coming in town to see my other brother. And he said, well, while I'm there, we'll come see you. I'm like, great, because we need to talk, you know. And when he was at the funeral, you know, he handed the phone off to my other brother, or told me he's going to give my other brother the phone. He said, you want to talk to him? And I said, no. And that was kind of a quick response, because I got caught off guard. And it wasn't that I didn't want to talk to my brother. I'm like, this ain't the time. I need more than 15 minutes to clear up 20 years of a mystery, you know, because they was on their way to go to a funeral. So I guess my brother, the handed the phone off, or was going to, interpreted that as, I don't want to talk to him, which that's not true. And at that point, it was like he decided to take sides. I'm like, after I talked to him, I knew, because he said he's going to call me next week, I knew he was not going to call me. And I haven't talked to him in a year. So it's like everybody jumping on sides. I'm like, there should be no sides. You know, we all brothers and sisters, you know. And when I talked to my sister about it, you know, I appreciate her trying to be very neutral. And she said, well, maybe he got busy. And, you know, and I said to myself, I understand what you're trying to do. I appreciate it, but there's no excuse for this. And an excuse should not be made for an excuse. It's like, it's been a year. All of us are retired now. So it ain't like we punching the clock. And when we get home, we're trying to do some stuff. There's no excuse for the absence of a phone call in over a year. And I noticed, because little things you notice that people don't think you notice, 100% of the time when I got to reach them, I call them. No one calls me out the blue, say, hey, how you doing, Morris, man, blah, blah, blah. I'll talk to you later, you know, love you. 100% of the time. So what does that tell you? There's no effort being made on the other side to keep this going. You know, because I look at it this way, and I guess maybe sometimes I think differently from others. As you get older, your bond with your family and friends should get stronger. Why? Because you're going to be leaving soon. And you want a happy ending to the story, instead of, as time progresses, we get distant and further away. You know, I don't want my life when it ends to be like that all this other stuff never got resolved. And all this stuff still floating around, and you dead, and it's still there, and still love. Let me put an end to this by talking to people, and then you leave out hopefully with a somewhat of a happy ending. Say, okay, well, we all loved each other. We were right, before we left here, and still all this stuff still here. And I'm one of them people. I don't like all this stuff still here. I don't like stuff still lingering. It's like close this out and we move on. Close this out and we move on. But I guess unfortunately some people don't think like that. I'm like, we got a lot of issues we need to sift through and resolve, before we leave here. But I guess apparently no one cares about that. And I feel like I'm the only one. And that's not a good feeling, It's really not a good feeling. Let me see. There's just a few things I want to touch on that I didn't touch on in that video. And also, because I was about to forget it again. So the understanding was with me and my brother, when he came here to visit my other brother, who he went to the funeral in Alabama with, that they, I think I did mention, but let me mention anyway, that they were going to come by. They never came by. Never came by. I'm 15 minutes away from my brother. And then the other brother was coming in town. Or actually, he was with him coming back from the funeral. Neither one of them came back. Nobody called me. Said, okay, we're here. What day is a good day? Nothing. So it's like, it's just heartbreaking to experience this, that no one is willing to try to make effort to communicate. My door's always been open. Got my phone number. Got my email address. So I just wanted to touch on a few more things. Well, I'm going to share this story with you. And it's not related to that, but in a sense it is, because this video is about lack of communication, lack of communication. Now, I just recently got a new lawn care company or lawn care people, and these are professionals. This is what, well, I can't say that with 100% of surety to say this is their job or this is what they do for a living. Maybe it's a side hustle thing, but I don't know. So I hired them, and they do a great job, but it's like this, things that you notice that I guess they don't think you notice, or they don't care. Because I'm like, I don't want to come off as a complaining old guy, because I'm not a complaining old guy. I'm like, I just want shit to be right. I pay you for shit to be right, so it should be right. And the things that are not right are not difficult to correct, or even it shouldn't even been a problem. Because the second time they came back, because I got mulch around my big trees, and I learned that, or should I say, there's another guy that used to do my lawn years ago, and he did that, and I said, man, that looks nice. So I continued that up. So I got mulch around the big trees, and they came and they cut the grass, and they didn't put the bag on the cutter because it was one of those rider mowers, and they blew grass clippings all over my shit. I mean, it buried the mulch. I'm like, come on, man, y'all know better than this. I had to go back to the Menards and buy more mulch and put it on there because it was just that much. It wasn't just a few. And I'm like, come on, man. You guys do, this is, professional work, and y'all half stepping, and I got to come out here and tell you this. So I told them that, then they put the bag on, which I shouldn't have to tell them, put the bag on. They know to put the bag on. So I paid them extra to cut some of the shrubbery out for this fence in the backyard, because the shrubbery's like interwoven between the fence. I'm like, I don't have the tools to get this, So I paid them to do that. So when they came out, the guy was working on it, and he said, I'm going to need a bag. And I'm like, not a problem. I said this, and I shouldn't have done this because this was my fault. I was trying to be helpful instead of letting them do their job because you're paying them. I said, don't worry about it. I'll get that up, And it wasn't a lot. It was just, they cut it off the fence. So I'm like, it's not a big deal. So the next day, I go back there, and it was, stuff off the fence. And I didn't have a problem getting that up because it wasn't that much. It was cut up. But they did this. And I didn't even ask them to do this. And they didn't even ask me, did I want this done? There's like this big, long bush next to my air conditioner. I mean, that thing about 8 feet tall. They decided to remove that. And when I say remove it, I don't mean trim it down, because that's what I would do. I would trim it down till I get, trim it down in pieces so I can get it up. They pulled a whole big ass tree out of the root and just left it there, just laying there. And it's like 8 feet tall. I'm like, what the fuck? I don't have the tools to cut this thing up, So they just left it there. I'm like, come on, man. First of all, I didn't even ask you to do this. I appreciate your effort and gesture, but you just left the tree. And then when I talked to them when they came out the other day, I said, I talked to the worker because the main guy was in my neighbor's backyard doing, her yard. I said, well, could you tell him that y'all need to get that big tree back there? Because I can't cut that tree up. I don't have the tools to cut it up. So then instead of him coming to my house, which is 2 houses away, and ring the bell and say, well, what's going on? He sends me a cowardly text. My worker couldn't understand what you said. And then I responded. I said, I told him to tell you that y'all need to get that tree back there because I don't have the tools to chop that tree up. So I told him that. I got no response after that. And I'm like, see, I'm reading between the lines. He wanted to pretend that he needed to know what I was asking for. And he responded. I'm like, no, you didn't respond. What you did was you sent me an inquiry about what did you tell him instead of coming to the door and not ringing the bell and to talk to me. And when I sent him that response, I said, y'all need to get this tree up, man. I knew he wasn't going to contact me. I knew he was not going to follow through and call me or text me. He just left it. I didn't hear from him no more. Then he left. And I'm like, I'm really just getting tired of this. It's not me. Because I'm like, is it me? Is it that I'm just complaining about everything? No, I'm not. I don't really even complain about really hardly anything. But I want things to get done. And it's like, come on, man. You leave this big ass tree back here. How am I supposed to get this tree up? But I just wanted to, clarify some things from the last video as far as, when I talked to my brother regarding that phone call and he was trying to hand the phone off to my other brother. And he said he'd call me next week. I knew I wasn't going to hear from him again. I knew he was not going to call me next week. And I'm like, 100% of the time when I try to reach out to my brothers and sisters, I have to be the one. No one surprises me with a phone call. Say, hey, I was thinking about you, little brother. I'll check with you again later. I love you. Nothing. It shouldn't be that way. It shouldn't be that way. Because like I said, and this is just my opinion, that as we get older, we get closer. And we get closer because we know this is about to come to an end. And you want, you would like to feel that when you leave here, that everything was better. You got a closer bond with your family. Because that's one thing I admire about my wife. When I first started dating her, I immediately noticed this. The chemistry, or should I say the relationship she had with her family, especially her brother who passed away. I envy her for that, because there's never been an issue or argument or falling out with her and her family because they talk. And I'm like, but with mine, nobody wants to talk. Everybody want to shut it down, ignore you, don't respond to you, cut you out when there's no reason for you to be cut out. It's like we grown ass men and women now. Can't we sit down and talk? Not be disrespectful, not be offensive, just talk. Because I don't like I said earlier, I don't like stuff lingering. It just still got to be resolved. This ain't been resolved. It's been going on since 1985. And that's just not me. It's just not me. But again, I want to thank you guys for chiming in. I really appreciate it. To wish me, condolences and, well wishes. And I just needed to, clarify that because, like I said, when I watched the video, I didn't mention that. As far as, again, my brother told me he's going to call me. And I'm like saying to myself, I'm not going to hear from him. He's not calling me back. I know he's not calling me back. I'm going to have to call him. I'm like, I'm tired of this. I'm tired of being the one that has to step out amongst the group and try to get this resolved. This is a group effort. This ain't just a Morris man effort, But it's like that, and it's so sad that it's like that. Again, with the lawn care things, and forgive me sound like I'm rambling, I'm like, first of all, I didn't ask you to cut that tree down. Then you won't get the tree up. and then you text me like you interested in getting whatever I got resolved, and then you don't respond back to say, okay, well, we'll be back next week and we'll get that tree. That's what should have happened instead of now you don't respond no more. People full of shit, and they don't think that you know that they're full of shit. And it's like, come on, man. Why can't we all just treat each other in the manner that we deserve to be treated? Why is this so difficult? It's like a Twilight Zone episode to me. It's like everybody crazy and I'm the one that's not. It's like, why is everybody behaving this way? And I don't understand it. I mean, I truly don't understand it. But I'm going to sign off now. Again, I thank you guys. And I just needed to, again, clarify a part of the story that wasn't clarified. Till next time, take care and thanks for watching.